Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pro Wrestling Rampage sit-down interview series. I'm sitting by myself today. There's no little Richard Davenport, and we have a special guest. We have luscious Rocky Reynolds, and today we're going to talk about, if you know Rocky Reynolds inside the ring, you might not know Aaron Madden outside the ring. Husband, father, police officer, and an author.
4'2" stuttering midget, yes.
So, Aaron, thank you for joining us today.
Hey, I definitely appreciate you having me. Thank you.
All right. Well, I don't know if you've seen any of our other interviews. There's only one right now, but
haven't caught it yet, but I'm looking forward to it.
What we'll do is we'll just go into a little bit of a background on your career, open it up to a little bit of a discussion between you and I, and then we'll do a little bit of a name association towards the end. Just people from the beginning of your career, people you may have trained or trained with, and people up to the... It's weird saying, like, the 2010s. Instead of, like... I mean, you can easily say, like, 70s, 80s, 90s, but, like, 2010s or something.
Yes,
okay.
I completely understand, yes.
Okay, so... I was doing a little bit of research on cagematch.net, the super reliable Wikipedia of professional wrestling.
Okay.
They say you've had 107 matches from 2001 to 2015.
I wouldn't say it's completely accurate thing, because I definitely have had a lot more than that throughout those years. Accurate.
That's what I was thinking whenever I look at it. I was like, he's definitely had probably way more than 107.
Yeah.
So
maybe just one's actually counted. I don't know.
But former Pro Wrestling Rampage heavyweight champion for, I believe it was 564 days.
I know it's a long time. I didn't keep track.
I know it was over a year. 500 some days.
I didn't see him punk it. I know it was just getting close to 2 years. So
just come out to the ring every show. You're heavyweight champion for so-and-so amount of days.
Yes.
Oh, man. 4-time NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion.
Yes.
1-time NWA Tri-State Heavyweight Champion. Do I have that correct?
No.
2-time?
It's 2 or 3. I can't recall. That was so many years ago.
Okay, I know I found a website. It was like from 2003. Yeah. So that
I started around 2000, 2001.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. 1-time PWR Lake Erie champion after you defeated the, now current heavyweight champion, Big League John McChesney.
Yes.
To unify those titles.
Yep. And
a 2-time Pro Wrestling Rampage tag team champion with your current partner, the Black Sheep, Bennett Cole.
And the longest reigning PWR tag team champions at 16 months.
That is true. Yes. All right, so as I was looking for research on your career, I came across an article from the local Titusville newspaper.
Oh. Yeah, they've covered a bit throughout the years. Yeah.
This one was about a promotional campaign for the United Way.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
There was, I don't know the exact name of the poster or whatever, but it was a fathead type poster of you.
This is going to go in
a United Way shirt, holding a title belt. Huh? Yep. But I found this picture of you missing your head.
Yep.
And you're just standing there like...
Now, here's the whole thing with that too. Is in the city of Titusville, I'm a police officer. That's my home. That's my hometown. That I'm born and raised there. I've been a police officer there now I'm in my 9th year. Okay. So I've been a cop for 12 years. I'm in my 9th year there. But this campaign took place just a couple years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. And so to raise money for the United Way, they contacted me wanting to know if I would be willing to get in on the campaign. And they wanted to take a picture of me in my wrestling gear wearing a United Way shirt. So I said, yeah, sure. So just, of course, be me. And to be ridiculous as I like to, I brought a belt, put on, held up high, made that face that I do, and then they snapped a shot and they made a big life-size fathead of it, and they put it on a wall in town. Well, as surprising as it may come to some, not everyone likes cops. So mysteriously, on one night, a person came and cut my head off. So the next day, the town woke up to see there's Rocky Reynolds with his head gone. Well, then, just to prove to the town that we weren't going to let this hold us down, they made a new head and they put it on perfectly. You can even tell that they cut it off. Few days later, gone again. So then, again, they made another head. Now this is starting to cost more than what the funds are actually raising here to keep fixing my head. So now they put a third head on. But when they did it, they actually put video cameras, hidden cameras on my life-size fat head. And on the video, you see these two guys. They come and they're kind of looking side to side, watching. There's one guy as an actual lookout, and then there's a guy who, I don't know if he had a box cutter or what, but he comes up, slices it, takes it off again. So then we actually take these pictures, we post them on Facebook and that, and we were able to identify who the guy was that was cutting off my head, and he actually was arrested for it. So justice was served. Yes.
Now, tell us a little bit about being a police officer. How did you get into that?
Well, it's probably near the same storyline as with professional wrestling. A lot of us get into professional wrestling just because we don't want to be doing the same thing every day, and you like a physicality in your life. And that's how I am too. But you always had the dream of being a professional wrestler, but I never looked at it as an actual life thing that I was going to do to be making a living off of.
Like a profession.
You got it. Yeah. I mean, of course, if it came, hey, that there would be great.
Definitely.
But you always got to have backup plans because you got to keep reality in mind. Because I personally think it's harder to make it in the WWE and make a living off of that than it is to make it into the National Football League or into the National Basketball Association. So, I did that as a hobby, but when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do for a career from actual life, I kind of was the same way in my thought is I didn't want a job that I knew was going to happen every day, and I always want to be physical. I don't want to sit behind a desk constantly. Still, being a cop, there's times you sit behind a desk, you got to work with doing reports, packaging evidence and that. But still, when you get those calls, you don't know when the call is going to come, what the call is going to be. That's what makes it fun. And of course, and there's many more nice things about being a cop in that too, being a role model within your community, helping people out in that. But honestly, I just love the funnest thing for me is when I have to get physical with a drunk or a guy high on drugs. I don't know why. I feel like that right now because I'm still young. Give me another decade, I probably won't want to get into the fights now. Yeah. But usually, can I swear on this too?
Director?
And I'm making sure. I'll censor myself then just to be safe. But I've learned, that also in town, since this is my hometown, everyone there knows me for my professional wrestling. When I first became a cop there and we would get called to the bars, everybody wanted to try the professional wrestler, So you think you're the big, bad, tough wrestler, huh? I'll kick your ass. Well, okay. Here's the three things I'm always thinking, all right? Number one, I am sober. They are not. Number two, I got all these cool toys wrapped around my waist that I can use. And number three, I'm justified to kick his ass. He's not justified to kick mine. So, so being a pro, so to actually mix being a professional wrestler with being a cop also, there's times it gets extremely interesting. Yeah.
Have you ever, now obviously I don't know the exact protocol, but have you ever gotten into an altercation with a drunk or someone that you have had to arrest? Just drop off the badge, drop the belt. Just be like, no, okay, let's go.
Well, no. Of course, I never break into being Rocky Reynolds when I'm actually out there. Only because I have to hold a level of professionalism in that too. Yeah, but no, it's a completely different level of training. And just like when you're inside the wrestling ring and things are happening so fast, your instincts take over you and you start going on cruise control out in the ring. Well, it's the same thing as a police officer. There's a lot of times that the situations are high risk and very stressful in that, but we are trained. And when these things happen, they happen so fast and in such a split second in that at times that your instincts take over, and they teach you to be professional and how to handle every situation the safest and the best way for you and for the person that you have to subdue at that time.
All right, now going back even a little further than that, even further than getting into the line of police duty, you and I have something in common. Do Do you know what this
Gannon
is?
University.
Yes, it is.
Yes, that's right, yes.
You are an alumni
college.
of Gannon University. I am a current senior in their communications program, which is, hey, that's why I'm doing this.
That's right.
But
That's awesome.
now, we've shared stories back and forth, and you told me that in your autobiography, which would you like to plug?
Oh, most certainly sold nationwide in every major bookstore across America on the internet. Amazon.com, Barnes and Nobles, all of them. You can purchase the 356-page Luscious, the story of four-time NWA world champion Rocky Reynolds book that I wrote word for word. No, I'm not smart enough to write a book. I'm just really good at telling stories. And lucky for me, people are good at editing, so I don't sound so dumb when you actually read it, because it actually sounds smart, but I'm not really that smart. But I did write every word of it. Go ahead now.
Now, obviously, we don't want to just turn this into a video version of your book,
Absolutely. I understand.
because I mean, you got to sell some copies.
Absolutely. Yes.
Now, you were telling me that you wrote at least a little bit. It may have been a specific chapter on just your time at Gannon.
Can you? Yes.
What does that entail, if you don't mind explaining?
Actually, of course, back when I was in college, I actually decided to go after professional wrestling, when I was somewhere around the 10th grade in high school. But I wasn't dumb like I had previously mentioned, is I knew that the odds of making an actual living off it were very, very rare.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, but I wanted to do it to, know that I didn't have a regret held back, and I'm so glad I did, because I absolutely love it. But I knew then that I needed a fallback plan, because it's easy. It's so easy to get into the ring one time, get hurt real bad that you can never step in that ring, ever again in the future. So I knew I needed to get a college education first. So of course, when I went to Gannon, professional wrestling was on my list of things I wanted to do, but I knew I needed that education, which I of course got my 4-year bachelor's in criminal justice, which is now being used in my line of work now. But as far as the book goes, it pretty much entails everything that did not happen in class, because of course in school I'm a real smartass. There's that word again. I'm really sarcastic, and I love to instigate and stir stuff and have fun. So in college we did lots of that. And I may have been investigated by Gannon security a few times, but I didn't mention those due to legal reasons. I don't know if the statute of limitations is fully expired on some of the stuff I did, so I didn't want to mention it in a book and then be able to pull me into court and have the evidence. But yeah, but college was a blast, and I did a lot of things that kids do, but a little bit more. And I wanted to make sure that to make the book as interesting as possible, and as real and as raw and as truthful as I could. I had to show that side of me too, because I like to play that sarcastic character that I have of me when I'm playing the Rocky Reynolds character inside the ring also.
Now, were you a frat guy, a party guy at all?
I 100% hate frats. Hate them with a passion. And I'm sorry if you're a wrestling fan and you were part of a fraternity. I don't mean to be bashy. Here's what I hate about them, and I might be wrong, but I'm a firm believer that a fraternity is mostly for the people who are not good at being social. A person who can't make friends, he looks around and thinks, well, I can join this little guy's group over here and I'll be cool with those guys, and I have friends now. Sorry, I don't mean to be a jerk, but I'm going to be honest as how I look at frats. I hate frats. I like sororities, though, and I'll actually end up telling you, when I was in Gannon all 4 years, I pledged every year at all the sororities. I would go to all of the open houses, and every time I got thrown out. But think of that. Really think. If I could have gotten in, man, what a college experience for the book that could have made.
You could have just written a book about that specifically.
Oh, I could have wrote a dictionary about that specifically.
All right. Now, as I was researching, I came across, obviously, it's no surprise, your, I hate to say short-lived NWA career, but it only lasted 3-4 years maximum. Why is that? Was there a falling out between you and the NWA?
No, it's all summed up in one word: epiphany. Without a doubt. Like I had mentioned previous, it only takes one time stepping in that ring to get hurt real bad to end your entire wrestling career in that. And as far as the end, well, there's a few different things, but the major thing was what the final breaking point was with the NWA. I absolutely loved working for the NWA. I mean, they did a lot for me. They did a lot for my career. They gave me so many opportunities. I got to step into the ring with so many legends because of the NWA, and they let me have their junior world heavyweight title 4 different times. I mean, they did really good for me. It got to the point where with them, I was out wrestling. Oh man, I'm going to say 15 to 20. Or I was out on the road. I'll say 15 to 20 days out of a month, and that, at first, the very first year, it's cool because you're getting a fly or drive here and there. You're staying in hotel rooms every night. But after about a year or two, I was flying here and there. I was in a hotel room every night. It was the same thing, but the attitude changed. I got burned out quick and that. And then I met my wife, who was my girlfriend at that time. But then, the things in life, your priorities begin to change and you really begin to actually rank what most means things. Wrestling, I know there's going to be a day I'm going to hang up my boots, which is actually going to be coming here soon at the end of this year.
We'll get to that here in a bit, yeah.
But let me cross my legs here like a man. But what it comes down to is I was knowing then that I had met the girl that I was going to spend the rest of my life with, and she supported my professional wrestling in that too. But at the same time, she hasn't always been a big fan of it because she sees how hard I get slammed, I get thrown. Wrestling is not fake. Planned out, yes, but what happens to us out in that ring is more real than any of you guys really know, unless you're in that ring with us. But so then it actually all happened on October 11th, 2003, which I don't know if you have a question on this or not. But when I was wrestling at the NWA 55th anniversary show in Parkersburg, West Virginia, and this is actually the crux of the entire book too. The book centers on this right here. This was the epiphany. Is I was in the main event. This was a 2-day long show, and then we were in the main event of the second night for the NWA World Junior Heavyweight Championship, and it was a 4-way ladder match for it. So I knew right then and there I had to do something to be the guy that was remembered from these 2 nights, which I did, but not for the reasons I meant to. So I sat there when I got there that day. I sat there and I stared at that ring and stared and tried to think, what am I going to do? What can I do to stand out above all these other guys? Because they had really good talent there. They had America's Most Wanted. TNA was just getting launched, and they were doing their Thursday night or Wednesday night, I can't remember which, pay-per-views out of the fairgrounds in Nashville, Tennessee. So TNA was getting launched. People starting to get to know who these guys were. Sin was there too. There's a few more names. I can't recall them all right off the top of my head. But so I had to do something to stand out above them all. So I thought to myself, and at this point I was pushing my limits more and more, and I hadn't gotten hurt yet, so I was feeling a little bit more invincible, immortal to a point, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, you get in that phase at times, you get into your character and you think you could be hurt, but not your character. So I finally decided to make a huge swanton bomb dive off of the ladder. I've done it numerous times off of a ladder into the ring. That's easy. But I thought, why not put the ladder up inside the ring and dive off it to the outside floor, over the top ropes to the outside floor. And the floor was just like the floor is here. I don't know if I can pick it up here. It's a hard tiled floor. So it's pretty much like landing on a slab of concrete. I mean, that's about the same thing as laying on this hard tile. So the spot for the match comes. I throw my 3 points to the outside floor. I put the ladder up. I look at the ref. I tell him to hold the ladder, and I begin to ascend up that ladder. I get to the top. Now, never before. I hate heights. I hate them with a passion. But every time I've jumped off of a ladder, I've never had fear. I don't know if I just get in the Rocky Reynolds character or what. You just put yourself in a different frame of mind. And I've never been scared. I climbed to the top of that ladder, stood on it, and looked out, and I actually got scared. And that should have been a sign right then and there, because I've never been scared to dive. But it was so high. But I remember thinking to myself, well, I can't turn back now.
Oh, man.
So it is what it is. I'm invincible. Nothing can hurt me. Let's just do it. So I do the jump. I do a swanton bomb dive off. And as I push off, that's the last thing I remembered at that time. Everything faded to black. I can't remember nothing else. But later, a few months later, when I got the actual copy of the DVD, I always wondered what went wrong. I pop it in. I'm actually watching, and I don't blame the ref on this. No, because I chose to do the jump. The jump's me. I chose. It's my whole thing. But the ladder wasn't held to the best of its ability where it could be anchored down. So to get out as far as I needed to, I was up so high, I pushed off pretty hard. Well, when I did, the ladder kicked back really hard, which when I went to jump out, when the ladder went, I didn't go out. I just went straight down. And I never got my full rotation on the swanton bomb, and I spiked it on top of my head. Peeled back my scalp, lost 2.5 pints of blood, bruised my brain, had to get 13 staples to seal my head back up. And at the time, even that didn't really end up bothering me. Weeks later after, I still didn't care. I still wasn't deterred and all. The epiphany came when a month or two later, when I received the DVD in the mail and I popped it in, I'm actually watching it. I was, as weird as it sounds, because I knew I was fine at that time, I started to actually laugh as I, thinking, what a dumbass. What an idiot. As I watched myself plummet to a near-death fall. But what brought it all to perspective was about 3 minutes after the fall. The cameras kept on rolling, and you see a crowd. All the wrestlers come out of the locker room. The crowd starts to surround where my body is because they're keeping me there. And I'm out cold. I'm actually moving, but I'm moving unconsciously. It's just I was gone. But they're trying to hold me down. Blood's pouring out of my head. The puddle is growing like out of a horror movie coming out of the back of my head. But then you see a parting in the crowd, and they bring my wife through. And at this time, we had just gotten married. We were 2 months married. And I actually landed 10 feet from her. It wasn't until I seen her on video when they brought her through, when she looked down, the fear, the hysteria, the screaming, the crying. I sat there and I thought to myself, wow, this was the first time it actually hit me. If I got hurt or anything happened to me, even if I died, it happened to me. I didn't give a damn. But now I was now a married man. I was now in this world with her, and I no longer was a lone wolf. So it quickly became an understanding. I couldn't be selfish. If I keep doing these kinds of things, trying to get to where I want to be in this business, keep raising that level to the point where I'm going to seriously hurt myself even worse, or I'm going to end my life, it wouldn't be fair to her. And I completely understood that right then and there. And it was at epiphany I had to sit back and think, well, you need to really take a hard, long look at what you are doing and what you better start doing with your career in that, because you have I have a new person in my life that's depending on me now, and I needed to be there more. So at that point, I'm not in any way dumb, or I don't think I am. So I don't know if it knocked sense into me or what. I think I would have still made the same choice. But I knew right then I needed to start laying back a bit. And I quit doing those high dives. And I changed my game in the ring completely from a more high flying, because I'm short. So I knew at the time the Hardy Boys were starting to get really a lot of recognition. And they're these, of course, Jeff was doing all the crazy stuff. And they weren't very big guys either. So I thought, okay, I got to have a style like that to be able to compete with these big giants. So at that point, I knew right then I needed to settle down my high flying, my high risk, my suicidal-like dives. And I went more to a comedy, running my mouth power move. But then at that point, though, along with that, I would have still kept wrestling for the NWA like that. I was just burned out from all the travel, too. Mm-hmm. Also, I'm a newly married man. I want to be home more. My wife wanted me home more. And it was just time to start life. I had fun doing the professional wrestling. I still want to do it as a hobby, of course, still in that, and to get my fix, as I like to actually call it. But we want to start having kids. We had our land. We had our home. Just build it. So it was time to start finding a real job. That's when I started to pursue the career in law and enforcement as an actual cop. And that's when I started pulling back, and just so I didn't have to travel. I just broke away from the NWA. Then, of course, within time, they kind of fizzled out. Mm-hmm. And they've kind of died out since again. They've been up and down, up and down. They've never been what they were since, 1986 or 83, somewhere
roughly
in there.
that, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, they've really fizzled out now. But now, I love staying near home. It's just a 1 hour drive for me to come up here and, to get my fix. I've never done drugs. I constantly get to rest druggies, and I try to understand how they want these drugs and what the fix is. Well, this is the closest thing I have to relate to it. This is my fix.
Well, that's That's a nice story about your wife and everything.
Hope I didn't stutter too much.
No. I was wondering. You mentioned your stuttering at the beginning of the video. Is that a lingering effect from the dive at the NWA show?
That's just mean.
That's
you jerk. No. Come on.
Or is that just something
ever.
You've dealt with?
No. I've actually stuttered since I was a little kid, and it's come and gone in frequency throughout my life.
Okay.
And I don't know why. People, some people have their own theories. People that don't have a stuttering problem have their own theory on what it is. You need to slow down when you're talking, or you just get scared, or you get all nervous. Well, no, many times in confident situations I've had no problem talking. Then at times when it is a confident situation, I still have that stutter in there too. So I don't know, it just comes and goes. I just learn to deal with it.
Have you ever run into that issue in the ring? Because I know myself and Richard Davenport will be sitting up here introducing you as you're walking to the ring. And occasionally you'll just yell out to a certain fan. You'll pinpoint usually someone like with a Nirvana shirt or something. Yeah. Have you ever run into that while yelling out to a fan?
The oddest thing that I learned, professional wrestling helped me in so many ways, is for some reason when I play Rocky, I never stutter. I don't know if it's to a point the stuttering has to have a mentality problem or have a mental linking to it also. Because as Rocky Reynolds, I never stutter. When I go into the entire character, I mean, I can go on and on and on. And I never stutter once, So at times in my life when I would have a hard time stuttering, I get looked at weird, but I might do that graspy voice just to see if I can spit it out. And then if it finally comes out, oh yeah, the other day, then it just comes out fine. And people look at me like, what the heck? So, but yeah, no, I mean, very, very seldomly do I actually do that. I know, I'm weird. My wife's going to kill me. But, yeah. But no, as Rocky Reynolds, I don't ever stutter, which is a real, real weird thing. But I know that there's a singer, I can't think of what his name is, but whenever I tell people that I don't stutter when I'm Rocky Reynolds, but I do when I'm Aaron Madden, there's some famous singer that they always bring up that stutters in life, but when he sings, he's absolutely fluent. And that's so I can't think who it is, but they always bring his name up, but I never really listen.
All right, now you mentioned it already. 2015, the luscious Rocky Reynolds final tour.
Final tour, yes.
Why now? You're 36. Couple weeks, you'll be 37.
You're creepy. You know too much. Yes.
Hey, you have a Wikipedia page. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. There is a
stuttering midgets get Wikipedia page.
There is a Rocky Reynolds Wikipedia page.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it was very, very helpful actually.
I have made it in life. I love it. Yes.
But yeah,
my head's getting bigger.
Yeah. You're approaching your late 30s. Why now? Why this year?
Oh, this is, and again, it's that word, epiphany. Professional wrestling, I figured I would always do it till my body completely gave out, or I died, or something. Because, I mean, I absolutely love this business, and like all other professional wrestlers, it's something I'm pretty sure they've all wanted to do since they were little kids. That's how most of us get into professional wrestling. But as I get older, I get a thing called mature, and you start looking at life in a different way. And what I've really began to actually notice, I started changing my style in the ring from the high-flying, suicidal kind of diving and jumps and flips to a more conservative power game because I now had just gotten married and I seen what the possibilities were of who else in my life I could affect if I wasn't careful. Well, now the same kind of thing has actually taken place now. I'm 36 years old, almost 37 years old, and after 15 years of the business I love and don't want to get out of, I'll go outside. I have two little girls now, Erilyn and Addison, who are 7 and 5. I'll go outside and let's say we play ball, and we're kicking it back and forth, and they kick it just a bit off to my left, and I have to jab step to go grab the ball. Well, now my knee hurts, or my back hurts. I'm starting to see the limitations that are beginning to develop in my body from 15 years of all the slamming, diving, crushing, pounding, bruising that this business has done to me in that. And I'm to the point in my life now that I sit back and think, okay, what are you really going to achieve if you continue to wrestle? Yeah, I'm going to still get my fix. I still absolutely love doing it. But every time I step in that ring, it's to that point now. Every time I step into that ring, I'm taking a small bit of my mobility off of my life. I mean, when I wake up now, to turn my neck, it is stiff. I have to, when I get up out of bed, I have to stop, sit up, and as I stand up, I don't pop up straight. I have to stop, pull up my back. I got to stretch out knees. I mean, the years are starting to really, really bad. What is this? What I'm getting signals from this guy. Do you know how to work that thing? Am I good? Did I stutter too much? Did I break it because I stuttered? Was the camera too high because I'm too short? You brought it down? Thank you. All right. But, but again, what it comes down to, again, is as husband, I learned I need to make a change in the wrestling business. Now as dad, I am learning it's time that I need to get out of it. Only because I got to spend 15 years chasing my dream. Absolutely. And I absolutely loved it. Every bit of it. Now I love being a dad. Absolutely love it. So now it's to the point where I need to keep my mobility to have quality life with my family still. And it's time I quit pursuing my dream and help my daughters find and pursue after theirs.
That's really sweet. Have your daughters ever seen you wrestle?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Okay. I didn't know if it was like something you're like, okay, no, this is Daddy's thing.
Oh yeah.
Or,
well, because of the.
I don't want you to possibly see Daddy kill himself.
Oh, well, hey, that's the cycle of life. It's just for them. Mm-hmm. No, because people don't want to show their kids, because of the violence of professional wrestling. You got to look at it in so many things. Okay, 30 years ago that might be true, only because of how life was. Look at how life is now. Yeah. Don't tell me that we shouldn't be giving our kids some knowledge at a young age of the violence that this world does have and possess, because at any given moment, a nutcase with a gun or 10 guns can walk into their school and start unloading on them, and by how cruel kids are now in today's world, they're going to be dealing with bullies, and of course in professional wrestling there's a good guy and there's the bad guy, and you can see what the bullies do. You can learn what is right, what is right, what is wrong. You can learn from the good guys on how to stick up for for those that are having wrongdoing done to them. These are like little tiny things, but my point is, in life, I let my kids, they're 7 and 5 now. I've let them for the last few years watch some of the most horrifying vampire movies. I understand you don't want to traumatize your kids, and I most certainly wouldn't, but I'm going to toughen them, and they're not going to be. I want to make sure that they can handle themselves good in life, because my job as dad, when it's said and done, of course I love them and that whole thing, but your overall goal as a dad is to be able to raise them to the point that they can fully and confidently take care of themselves when they go out on their own. And I'm going to make sure that my girls, when they are raised and can go out on their own, that they don't need a man to take care of them. They are going to be able to take care of themselves, period, in every way. And if they get in a physical situation, I'm not just talking going and picking a fight at school, but let's say, with a date rape situation, anything, I want to make sure that they can take care of themselves now. So I raise my girls I raise them to be tough, but at the same time I make sure that they know what is right and what's wrong, and the only times that these things are called to be done. All
right. Now, once you finally do hang up the boots, once that day comes, your final match is over, are you planning to stay in the business at all? I know you have your own promotion. Are you going to keep doing that? Are you going to maybe move into a possible not in-ring role, or are you just trying to get out of the business entirely?
No, I love this business. Love it. I will never be able to get away from it. What I'm retiring as is an active wrestler.
Okay.
Active wrestler.
Okay.
Now, I don't want to come back and be a manager, a referee. No, yeah. God, no. No, because it gets to the point, I don't want to sound arrogant, but it gets to the point where when you've got to be the guy that goes out there and stand in that ring during the main event matches and all eyes are on you, it's really hard to be the guy to sit back and not be the center. Now, we are, if you're trained and raised right in this business, you are known that when your time has passed, that you need to give back. And that's definitely true. Which is why I still want to be in the business in that, but I don't know, how I would. Well, and I wouldn't come up every, where I wouldn't deal with shows on a regular basis. Just every now and then, maybe get called in for special guest ring enforcer or referee, or I don't know. There's definitely some things I want to still be involved in it, but there's like some things I don't though, just because of that mentality. It's hard to get away from that limelight. Even if it's just on a local scene, it's just there's a level of pride and I don't know. It's something you enjoy doing.
So you're going to keep Madmar going then?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And of course, years ago I used to run shows 4 to 5 a year. I don't run on a monthly basis only because of the fact it becomes work then. And once professional wrestling becomes like work, then you need to get out of it. If you think you know everything or it's becoming work, get out. You should only do it because it's fun. Professional wrestling, don't ever take it serious. Don't. Seriously. Oh, yeah. No, don't ever take it serious. Enjoy it. And if it's your career for life, take that part of it serious. But don't take professional wrestling serious. It's a male soap opera is what it is. And it's a blast. That's the closest thing I can actually link it to. Because we give constantly so many different hanging storylines with the crowd to make them keep coming back to see what each storyline is going to show next. And then, of course, when you get the next part, you leave them hanging again, and you keep doing it over and over, which is what makes it so fun.
It's just the never-ending book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but as far as the Madmar thing goes, as of right now, I'm only really officially running the Crawford County Fair show every year. Just one show. Easy.
Okay.
I don't have to work. It's actually fun. But no, I hope to. We've ran that show now for 13 years straight. I got to go back and look. Yeah, 13. It's at least 13. It's either 13 or 14. I'm not sure. It's 13 consecutive straight years. And I literally want to run that every year to the day I die. And as long as the Crawford County Fair keeps bringing us back, we love being there. The fans are absolutely awesome. What's nice about them is that they are nothing but marks. They aren't, well, no, because there's all those smart, there's a lot of times you go to a federation and there's fans that the only reason, they think that they know everything about the professional wrestling business. The worst thing are those fans that sit there and just watch for you to screw up.
Yeah.
You effed up, I won't say it. And all they're doing is critiquing your match. They're not actually letting themselves get lost and fall into the storylines and let their emotions go and suspend their reality as is always said, and just enjoy a 3-hour wrestling show. The Crawford County Fair fans, that's what they do. And I'm telling you, half of them think that this is still real, which is great. So you go out there, you grab a guy's arm, you work in arm bar, and they go nuts. It's a great crowd. We love going there, and it's a blast.
You mentioned the people who were just sitting there only to critique your match, and the thing that popped into my head was the people who watch NASCAR only for the wrecks.
That's a long wait to hopefully see one wreck.
Yeah.
To have to watch a guy do 500 plus laps, so hopefully he's going to wreck. Is that banging going to overdo your audio? Okay.
How are we doing on time?
Doesn't matter. Yeah, this is probably only going to be like it should only be about a 20-minute interview, but because of my stuttering, it might go over 2 hours. So.
All right. Well, I think we can move into the name association.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So, okay. Now, there's really no set rules. Like I said, we've only had one interview so far.
All right.
Before you.
You want me to be 100% honest?
Be 100% honest. Say whatever you want. I have a list of, I believe
one word or...
No. If you have a story, because I have a name on here that'll definitely, hopefully spark a story from you.
Okay.
So,
hopefully it doesn't legally come back on me.
No.
Yeah.
But, all right, first name on the list. And like I said, these are all from your history as an in-ring performer. Jason Rumble.
For some reason, that's the first name that was in my head. Jason, one of my absolute all-time favorite opponents to ever get in the ring with. The Boston Bad Boy, Jason Rumble. Jason, we had a feud back and forth for a bit over the NWA World Junior Heavyweight title. And the thing I love with Jason is he plays heel so good. So, and one of the times I won the NWA World Junior Heavyweight title was from Jason in my hometown of Titusville, which is easily one of my top 2 greatest things in professional wrestling. Yeah, and the whole reason why is because of the element of what the stats of that title was, I'm in my hometown. It was a sold-out crowd. The building is solid packed, and just the atmosphere was insane. But what a major element to make that match so great was Jason, because he went out there and he got the crowd hating his guts so much that even if the hometown boy didn't walk out, it didn't matter. Whoever walked through that curtain next, they were going to go nuts for it because Jason played heel so great.
All right. Next name on the list, I believe it was your opponent for your Pro Wrestling Rampage debut back in 2007, Johnny Gargano.
I wrestled him years ago. I can't recall if he was my debut match. He possibly was. Never thought of that. Johnny. The only time I ever really I actually interacted with Johnny was that match or that show and a couple shows prior to. So I really can't give too much of in depth on Johnny. I can talk about the actual match. Real good professional, really good in the ring at that time, and this was years back. And I definitely know Johnny has only gotten better because I constantly see Johnny's name out there. But no, I mean, I had nothing bad to say on Johnny. Only good. I mean, Johnny and me put on a great match, and he was extremely easy to work with in the ring.
All right, next name on the list is the man who we interviewed a couple of months ago, big time Bill Collier.
The next big thing. Period. I don't care what anyone else says. Bill Collier, in my opinion, I've traveled. This is my 15th year in professional wrestling. I've traveled nationwide. Went through all the different NWA territories. I have met hundreds and hundreds of wrestlers throughout the year. Bill is the first one that I can say that I honestly and feel confident saying is every way the package, everything. He's a monster of a freaking man. He has got the size. His moves are great. His mentality, his psychology is above and beyond where he should be at. Because the thing with Bill is he's only been in the business. When I say only, I mean he's been in for quite a few years now. But I remember, I don't know, it's like 7 years ago, maybe 8, somewhere in there. I might be off by a year or two. Bill was just breaking in. I did some stuff with the APWF, and that was when I first met Bill. He was a new guy there, this real quiet, green, but very polite kid. Short hair, and
this was still buzz cut mustache Bill.
Buzz cut, yeah, mustache. I don't remember a porn stash on him, but he probably did sport one time. I could see him doing that. But no, I mean, but the guy, Bill, he is without a doubt. I think you are there. It's only a matter of time if the right scout sees him. And I don't just say this. I don't, because I've wrestled with hundreds of wrestlers. But I mean, I honestly 100% feel if he's seen by the right scout, he's gonna go. You are gonna see him on a national televised level. I do definitely think so.
All right, next up, former competitor in TNA, former IWGP Heavyweight Champion, AJ Styles.
One of the absolute and most polite and humble guys I have ever met that has a name status in this business. I have met a bunch of dicks in this business, a bunch of dicks. They're there. It's a dirty, scummy, rotten business. It is. There's a lot of love to it too. I absolutely love it, but it derives from the carnival. Keep that in mind. And you have so many egos. You have guys wanting to be the number one guy. You have so much jealousy going on, stuff like that. That when guys are trying to compete for the top spot and for the big money and that whole thing, guys can become real dicks. AJ, when I got to feud with him for a short bit in that during the NWA days, TNA was just getting launched. He was on their pay-per-view on a regular basis out of the Nashville Fairgrounds, and he was the X Division champion at that time too. And I'll tell you, the guy was such a nice, patient, polite, humble guy. And I'll tell you, to this day, he was the hardest guy I had to work matches with. I don't mean to crush all of your knowledge of professional wrestling. It's predetermined. But AJ liked to plan out, at least then, I don't know about now, he liked to plan out every little thing, every counter, everything. So, and that's cool. I don't have the best memory. I don't know if it's the chair shots throughout the year, but back then I didn't take them, so no, I'm just stupid. But I don't always have the best memories. So when we would work out a match, with whoever I was wrestling, I go off to the side and I try to get locked in my head, and I would shadow wrestle with myself, and guys would be looking at me in the locker room because I'm over there, doing this. But with AJ, he would have 300 little things that or at least it felt like that I had to keep in my head. He added so much to it. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm trying to think of it all, and I'm forgetting what comes after this. When am I blocking this punch? When is this counter here? And what made me so envious of him, not just his outstanding, phenomenal ability, get the pun there, phenomenal ability in the ring, but he could talk over the match once, and then he'd get on his Game Boy and he'd walk off in the corner and he'd just play it. And the whole thing was in his head. I was sitting there panicking. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But AJ, and he loved his Game Boy back then. I don't know if he still does now, but he would always talk over the match once, and then he would wander off and play his Game Boy. But yeah, but no, outstanding talent. I don't think I need to actually point that out. That's pretty well been established by him and seen by his incredible work inside of the ring. But behind the curtain, he's the only guy, and I respect this. I'm a Catholic. I've been born and raised that. But he's the only guy ever in this somewhat not clean or not... What
just say wacky world of professional wrestling.
Wacky world, dirty, scummy, rotten at times, full of used car salesmen and backstabbers and stuff. He's the only guy that right before we walk out to the ring, he would embrace me in prayer, and he would say a prayer, and then we would walk out to the ring.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And I've never had anybody else ever do that, and I appreciate it. And that made, and because at that time I said his status was already being laid. His foundation of who he was and how good he was going to be was getting known at that time. That he didn't need to do that kind of stuff, but he really cared about, making sure, going, taking the extra mile to say a prayer for me and him, and I don't know, maybe he was just getting in the ring with me. I thought, oh God, I better pray. That's the only way I might be safe. Or I'm pretty sure he does this with all of his guys. But that's what I really was where I'm looking for. I was really stunned, shocked about, and really admired was when he would come over and he would embrace me in prayer.
That's really awesome, actually. All right, next name on the list. I believe he was one of your first trainees. I could be wrong on that, but Omega Aaron Draven.
Omega, my God, he right there. He is one of the best, outstanding talents coming out of Erie. Period. Attitude, he gets so grumpy. He complains and whines and bitches a lot. He knows it though. You know it. But the kid though. But that's why he's so good. Is because he's so hard on himself, and if one little thing goes wrong inside of the ring, he gets pissed. But like I said, it's not because he's being a jerk. It's because he's so hard on himself, and he works so hard, and he wants his matches. He wants to put the best match on every night. That's a fact. That's an important thing to him. Because I remember one time coming back from a West Virginia show, I wrestled in the main event, and we had a pretty good match, not the best on the card. It was definitely Omega, who was in a previous match that put the best match on. But in the car ride home, we were being driven by some marks, and we were getting their opinion on what they thought about the show. And they mentioned about how his match was the best. And at the time, I hadn't said a word, but I actually thought, yeah, his match was good. And I remember he turned to me and went, ha! I mean, and I thought, well, because I was in the main event of the match, but and he wasn't being a jerk, but I meant that's an important thing to him, and that's a great thing. And to be as good and he is as good as he is today because he's that hard on himself, and he expects that much out of himself. And when he's out there putting that much out there and he's working that hard, he expects the exact same thing out of his opponent too. So when you might hear people say he is grumpy or bitches and complains a lot, which he does, but the reason why is because he expects you to be putting the same amount of the effort into that match that he puts in.
All right, now tell me a little bit about your current tag team partner, the Black Sheep, Bennett Cole.
he sucks, and I have to carry him every match. No. Bud is Bud. What, you think I'm joking? I mean, you try wrestling with that guy. My God, he can't even do a near arm chop in real freaking wrestling. So no. Again, I trained him too years back, and I'll tell you what's. Bud has. Bud has made me very, very proud. Very, very proud. I mean, he has done outstanding in that, and it's really nice to get tagged up with a person that I trained, to be able to get in the ring with them and continue to work with them inside of the ring. Not saying I need to work with him. He does fine now on his own in that, but it's nice to now be side by side with a person that I helped train. That's sort of like a student teacher kind of thing, and it's definitely fun to be able to look back on this chapter of my life down the road and be and to be able to see Bud there standing next to me as we held the PWR tag team titles for, at the time, the longest, and always will hold as the longest record of 16 months.
All right, now this next name was a suggestion from our director, Lexus Wine.
Lexus Wine. Oh man, a suggestion from the director. Let me tell you about Lexus. I have never had more respect for a woman in the professional wrestling business as I did her. And let me tell you why on that too. When she approached me, at the time, she was from my hometown of Titusville, Pennsylvania. And I used to work at Little Caesars, while I was chasing this professional wrestling dream and that, so I wasn't a cop yet. She came in one time after a Titusville show. Actually, it was after I won the NWA World Junior Heavyweight title from Jason Rumble, and I talked about how the place was a sold-out crowd. The place was just loud. Hey, bro. And, so then she comes in because she wasn't a wrestling fan. She just wanted to be able to step inside of the ring and get that, hey, there's this person, So she wanted to train, so I thought, okay. Now, back then, I was more of a jerk than I think I am now. So when I had people that came to me with that kind of an attitude, just wanted in the wrestling business to get the glory, I wanted to beat the living hell out of them to make a point. So I told her, hey, yeah, listen, on this day and time, come on down to this certain building where I have the ring set up, and I'll put you through a few drills. Okay. So she shows up. And, oh, man, I leveled her and drilled, thinking she's going to be a prissy little girl. It'll only take one or two hits. I drilled her with everything. I was laying in lines tight. And I chopped the crap out of her, too. I made her take off her shirt to just her sports bra on. I'm not that bad. And I chopped her, leaving welts, tearing, not tearing skin. I broke blood vessels in her chest. I made her take at least 200 bumps. I was throwing around beating her, and everything I gave, she popped right back up.
Really?
Everything. And I only had to say it once. After you take a chop, put that chest right back out every time, right back out. No matter what I did. What my whole point is really quick. I realized that my assumption of her was completely wrong. She wanted in for the glory in that at first, but I knew right then she was tough enough that I could teach and get her to understand what the respect of the business was and what the business is like, and how she has to actually look at it, that it's not a big glory thing. You've got to pay dues, and you got to be willing to go through hell before I'm going to let you step in that ring and get any of that glory. And she was willing to go that road. She did, and I got to travel the road with her for a few years, and I'll tell you, it was a prideful thing to take her on the show, say, this is one of my students here, have her wrestle whatever that Federation's girl wrestler was, and her level of ability and what she was willing to attempt and do and try was so much more entertaining and higher than what this little prissy, beautiful blonde girl was going to go out and do with her inside of the ring. So when you mentioned that name to me, easily one of the most proudest women I've ever trained in professional wrestling.
Did you find that she could just outperform, like you said, that Federation's female wrestler just on any occasion, any promotion that you would take her to?
Well, I don't want to say every single one. Lots of them, yes.
But a lot of them, though.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Because there's definitely some, because there's a lot of women in professional wrestling that have got the heart, but there's also a lot that just want to come out and shake their ass and that whole thing. I think that their looks are going to get them over, and going to get them to become fan favorites and to get a spot on a show. And those are the ones that never really paid a due and never really were worked hard. So that's where when I brought Lexus in and she got to get in the ring with him, I just pour her off to the side and say, hey, teach her, make her learn a little respect tonight and make her pay a few dues. And Lexus always did.
All right, we've got 3 more names here on the list. 2 of them, again, suggested by our director.
Oh, great. He's a jerk. Yeah.
First of which, Zach Proctor Jr.
Zach needs to learn to keep his mouth shut. That's what Zach needs. Zach Proctor, I love the kid. Don't get me wrong. I love the kid. He went through my training school. He went through the entire thing. Because of his mouth, he got disciplined and beat and chopped and ran out in the snow in nothing but shorts and shirt for 2.5 hours straight one time. I got to give him the respect because I'm not trying to put over my own school and I don't train anymore. I don't have the time with my whole family life now. But back in the day, I used to put him through hell. And he made it through, so I give him respect for that. But the one thing Zach just never quite learned was full respect. He always, and I don't want to sound bad on the kid, but I'm gonna be completely honest here. The kid just never knew when to shut up and be humble, is what it was. So he would always have a thing or two to say towards someone in the business, whether he intended or not, which I think a lot of times he did, would come off offensively. And because of that, he would burn bridges, he would lose bookings, he would get shot on during matches, and he drew a lot of heat. And because of those reasons is why he didn't really last more than maybe, was it a year in the business? And at the time, it was him, Wicked, and Omega. All 3 of them were friends, and they were like a trio. They called themselves E3, Erie 3. And, they would come down to Titusville, train, and then they would go home. They were the last 3. I think we started with a school of we had a tryout of 40-some. And when the whole school was said and done, the only 3 that made it through the entire training was those 3. And I don't know if Zach would have made it if Wicked and Omega hadn't kept pushing him, though, at the same time. But I got to still give him credit. The kid made it through. He just needed to learn to shut his mouth. Because that's the thing. In professional wrestling, especially when you're new, you leave your ears open, you keep your mouth shut. If you don't, you will become the next Zach Proctor Jr. of professional wrestling.
Now, rounding out that E3, Wicked Dave Majeski.
Wicked. Looks better with his hair long. Don't cut it. Kurt Cobain looked better with his hair long. Look bad with it short. Same with you, Dave. Wicked. I'm shooting. We'll leave it long. But yeah, no. Extremely a respectful kid. And like I said, he rounds off the E3. He busted his ass. He made it through the training school. And easily, he was the most conditioned. I'll give the kid that. When he went through the training school, this is hard to believe, and he'll probably get mad at. I'm going to bring up an Omega story real quick. But I used to always make a joke and tell the guys, hey, whoever finishes this conditioning first can have a night with my wife. There's always a joke. Sorry, hon. It's only a joke. But so Wicked really tried hard. That kid was determined. So, so he would take off and there was a time that I went down to the gym. There's this kid named Jason Cherry. He was a big, just fat kid. And he would come down the gym, not really do much. He just sat there. Just a big, round, heavy kid. I'm going to say he's about 350 pounds. So I always knew he was lingering down in the gym of the YMCA where I would train these guys up. So on this one conditioning, I thought, okay, I'm going to go get this 350-pound guy and make these guys do laps up on this running track with Jason on their back. So, Zach Proctor, I can't even remember. I don't even know if he finished it or not. But then came Dave, Wicked. He puts Jason up on it, and he just takes off. Boom, boom, boom. Flew it through fast, and I was really impressed with that. Then came Omega. He puts it up there, and he gave it his all, and he cried. He got done, but he was crying. And I made fun of him for the longest time. And now that he's much, much older, you would never think of that of him. Because, I certainly would. Because he's the kind of guy that would tell you what he thinks of you straight to your face and not give a damn now. Back then, the kid was extremely respectful. He still is now, but he knew back then, like the pecking order was, to keep his mouth quiet. But, when he had to put him up on, it was so much pain. And I kept screaming, yelling at him. He was in tears crying, but he got the laps done with this 350-pound mammoth man on his back. Oh yeah, but sorry. Back to Wicked though. Again, one of my most proud students that I trained, and out of the E3 at that time, he was the most conditioned of them all. But without a doubt, and just to plug it out there, the one that shined the most was Omega. No, I mean, he has definitely accomplished the most in his career.
All right, now final name that I had prepared: Dorian Monroe.
Dorian. Where does the book start on this one? Oh boy. Where to start? He went from an annoying pre-pubic kid, always bugging me. Like I said, I used to work at Little Caesars. I'll do a quick timeline here. He used to work at Little Caesars years ago when I first got into professional wrestling. Dorian Monroe is from Titusville also. He used to work for his grandpa when he was like 12 years old at a bingo hall, doing stuff to run the bingo games for the old folks. Well, every Wednesday for Wild Wednesday at Little Caesars, you could get a 2 medium pizza for $5.99. Every Wednesday, he knew I was working. Bingo was every Wednesday. So he would always order pizza. He didn't want the pizza. He wanted me to come. He just wanted to talk about professional wrestling. The kid had so much heart. So I'd go there with his pizza. He'd take it, put it off to the side, and he'd keep me there for 30 to 45 minutes. And I'm not joking. And I would keep wanting to leave, and he'd keep bugging me. And I was too nice to just say, listen, I got to go, man. Shut up. I mean, I just couldn't do it. But I also maybe enjoyed talking to him about professional wrestling. So, and I was getting paid for it, too. So fast forward only about a year, he kept bugging me to train him. I kept saying, listen, man, you're way too young. He was 13 years old. No, and I was starting to train bigger guys. He bugged me and bugged me and bugged me. I couldn't get him off me. So I thought the only way I am going to is just beat the hell out of this kid. Then he'll finally just shut up and leave. So I did the Lexus wine thing to him, and he wouldn't quit. So, and I just blew my mind out. I thought either I'm going to, get put in jail for abusing a child here, or he's not going to quit. I'm going to have to train him. So it just got to the point where I made him like a little sidekick to me, and I tried to be like a big brother to him, because I always see him around town and I actually like the kid. So I trained him in that, and in the state of Pennsylvania, you got to be 18 to wrestle. I remember we had him on a show at the age of 15, wrestling. He started wrestling when he was 15 years old. Not my show, but we have him on shows. So I wanted the board to think that's me. So, but then he's had his ups and downs. He was always respectful to me, but he hates authority. He hates cops. Believe that or not. He always seemed to like me though, so that's good. We always got along. I didn't know if the badge would deter him or not. So, but my point is though, he's maybe been in some trouble in his life because he's had a hard time with authority. So as a big brother kind of status, I tried playing with him too. I was also trying to teach him, while traveling him, getting him experience on shows and that. Trying to be like a big brother and help him guide his life out a bit. And he's doing good. But then he finally got into a career-ending situation when, without a driver's license, he didn't have a valid driver's license. He went driving a car, and he got into a bad wreck with a big tanker truck or a street cleaning roller. I don't know what it was. It was a big, heavy machine truck. And literally, he crushed both his legs, pierced a lung. The gas pedal went through his foot. He messed himself up. He's mostly RoboCop from waist down. So, so he had to, at that time, retire from professional wrestling. But what I haven't mentioned yet is that he had one of the absolute best minds for this business also, which is a sad shame. He had the one handicap that I had, height, just not tall. He was actually shorter than me. I stand at 5'6" and a half. When you're only 5'6", you got to bring the half in. He's only got to be like 5'4". But he had such a great mentality, and as far as submission wrestling goes, that's where his expertise was. That kid knew every hold, every way to twist a person. So when I started training, or not when I started, but as I was still training and he had been trained, he came in and was helping me out at the training school. And I was glad to have the kid, because when it came down to showing submission holds and chain, he was outstanding with that stuff. So I would let him take over that part. And he just helped round out a lot of the future students in that. But we are still friends to this day. He is now retired, undoing of his own want, only because of injuries from a motor vehicle accident. But a couple years ago, we had a good send-off for him at the Crawford County Fair, where in the main event, where him and his good friend Omega, they're actually really good friends in real life. They had a quick storyline, and Omega held the title there for over 5 years. One show a year for 5 years. He couldn't be knocked off. So if you want to see him Punk those days, figure him out. It's a lot. So but finally Omega dropped the belt to him, and and then we sent him off winning the Madmar Pennsylvania championship, and that was his send off in the professional wrestling business. But like I said, we are still friends to this day, and I still love and respect the heck out of that kid.
Oh man, well, I believe that's all the time we have. That's all the stuff I have prepared.
Did I stutter most of this out or what?
Well, Aaron, definitely thank you for doing this interview with us.
Thank you. I definitely appreciate it. And is Sean going to get to see us from Gannon University?
He can.
I do not want him to, because he will be embarrassed by me, because he taught me so much better on how to perform in front of the camera than I probably did today.
The father Sean Clerkin.
That's right. Yes. Yeah, Sean was like a father figure to me behind the camera. No, I'm just kidding. He was just an art teacher for me. But I did pay attention, and I hope I've gotten better during interviews, because that's what I actually took with Sean. Is he was actually that's what he was actually teaching me. I took a class knowing I wanted to get into professional wrestling. That's why I actually took it. I didn't want to be no theater guy. No way. That ain't me. Although that's kind of what I do, I guess, right? But so I took his class on how to get in front of the video camera, and it was I forget the name of the class, but yeah, you did different interviews. You acted like you were doing a newscast, like you actually sat there, you were reading off a teleprompter, the entire thing. So I actually took his class trying to get better with this kind of thing here for professional wrestling.
All right. Well, once again, thank you for sitting down with us for I think an hour. I'm not sure, something around there.
Hey,
I don't know what the final time is, right. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for purchasing this DVD. There will be more Pro Wrestling Rampage sit-down interviews to come. Thank you.
Buy the book.
Yes.
The book, please buy it.
Luscious, the story. What's the official title?
Luscious, the story of four-time NWA World Champion Rocky Reynolds.
Amazon, Barnes & Noble, any other online bookstore. I don't know why I have 4 fingers up right now. I only need 3 things.
You can't count, because you go to Gannon University. That is why. I can't count past 4 either.
All right. Thanks, Aaron.